everyone, I'm here for another car chat. If you don't know me, my name is Jules, and this is my new YouTube channel where I'm going to discuss mental illness, depression, TMS, and anything else that I feel I could lend my voice to. And I'm going to do that from the comfort of my car during my commutes to and from work, and as of right now, to TMS. So today I want to talk about how you can help the people in your life who may be struggling with mental illness, and specifically with depression. Depression is something that doesn't discriminate between people based on race, class, gender, any of that. But there are some, I guess you could call them mitigating circumstances that can affect how depression will change the course of your life, if that makes sense. And one of the main things that will affect that in the life of someone who is already predisposed to depression is if they have a good, caring, educated support system in their life that they can turn to. And that's what I'm here to try to do today. I want to help you to become someone's support system in a way that will be beneficial for them, but also not taxing on you. So the first step to helping someone with depression is being able to recognize that they're suffering in the first place. Fellow depressives will be able to tell you that we are masters at something called masking. And masking is something I'm doing right now, filming this video. I'm, whether you would believe it or not, in the midst of a pretty bad depressive episode. But I'm smiling, I'm talking clearly, I'm clearly out of bed and, taking care of my hygiene. But all of that's masking what I'm actually feeling, which is depression. So, masking is just a term to describe when you're hiding your depressive symptoms, either to gain people's approval, to avoid talking about it, or just because you need to get through life and that's the easiest way to do it at the moment. It's kind of a fake it till you make it mentality that a lot of depressed people have. So that can make it really tricky to tell if someone you love is experiencing depression. Because as we all know, depression isn't just sadness, and depression isn't always obvious. In the media, you often see depression portrayed as people who can't get out of bed, who don't take a shower, who isolate themselves, which is true and quite frankly is what a lot of us want to be doing every day. But in reality, a lot of us do have to go out and live our lives, and that involves a lot of masking every day. So there are a few ways that you can kind of see through that mask if you're paying attention. One of those things has been made a lot more difficult in the past few years as a lot of humor and comedy has shifted. And that's when people make a lot of jokes about suicide and self-harm. Because that used to be kind of a telltale sign of someone saying, I want to kill myself all the time. But sometime in the past few years, that became a very common expression to express that you're uncomfortable or you're in a difficult situation. And a lot of times you can't really tell the difference between someone who's jumping on that trend and someone who is using comedy to cope with their mental illness. But that is something to look out for still. Just because it's not a surefire way to tell doesn't mean it's not something to look for. So a lot of joking about serious topics can occasionally mean that the person is suffering from those things in their real life and is trying to make light of them. Another thing that you can use to see through that mask is that a lot of depressive people will cancel plans a lot, or they'll always seem busy, they'll seem flaky. And a lot of people's natural first reaction to that is to be angry. Because we don't like flaky people. We don't like people we feel we can't rely on. You know, it makes us mad when our friend has canceled on us 3 times this week and it seems like they just don't care about you anymore. But what you can do instead of immediately getting angry, which you are justified to do, is you can look deeper at their behavior and even just go ahead and ask, are you doing okay? Is there anything you want to talk to me about? I'm here if you need me. Those kinds of phrases should become key in your vocabulary if you suspect that someone you love is suffering from depression. What you don't want to do is attack them for the ways they're feeling, because they can't control those feelings. And they're probably already beating themselves up for them. So you want to refrain from saying things like, why don't you hang out with us anymore? You've been so distant. It's like we're not friends anymore. Those kinds of phrases can feel very aggressive and can cause a depressed person to retreat even further into themselves and into their unhealthy mindset when looking at themselves. So, I guess what I'm getting at with that last point is be direct and say what you want to say. Depressed people aren't fragile. We're not eggshells. We're human. So try to have some empathy and think about what you might want someone to say to you in that situation. You can come right out and ask someone, are you feeling depressed? And they're not going to break on sight, I promise. They might just open up to you and tell you what they're going through and let you in so that you can help them more fully. The next point I want to talk about in terms of helping someone who you think is suffering from depression or who you know is suffering from depression is to know when it's not your job anymore. And I don't mean that as telling you to pass it off onto someone else, that you don't have to support this person anymore. But there are cases where you've done all you can and you're not qualified to help anymore. For example, if someone is expressing suicidal intent or that they are self-harming, then a lot of times you aren't qualified to deal with that situation. You are qualified to care, you're qualified to show empathy, you're qualified to talk. But if someone's in danger to themselves, there are people who are trained professionals in how to help that situation. So your best bet is to defer to those trained professionals. You can easily go on the internet and find resources for the person. If they are in serious immediate danger, the easiest thing to do is dial 911. If someone needs immediate help and you don't think that you can give it to them, it is your responsibility to find someone that can. You're not required to fix that person, but you are morally obligated to help them find the help that they can't get themselves. That's something I am very serious about. I don't expect everyone to go around saving people because that's not your job. But if you see someone who is in need and you let yourself become a passive bystander, you are culpable in what happens to them. So I hope this was informative as kind of a first glimpse at ways you can help someone and how to know if someone does need help in the first place. If you want more resources on how to, talk to someone who you're worried about, how to be there for someone who you think needs your help, it's as simple as a Google search. It's pretty easy to find good sources online. Psychology Today has great resources. There's a site called Make It Okay, which has tons of resources on how to make it okay to talk about depression openly, both with people who are not depressed and with people you're worried about who are depressed or who seem depressed. Another good tip is to educate yourself on what depression is at its core, what the symptomology is, what the signs of depression are. And then the more educated you are, the more easily you can see who might need your help in your life. Depression is very common, and I can assure you that at least a few people that you see every day have some experience with depression, whether in themselves or with a loved one. And they deserve your help and your compassion. So I hope you take this to heart. I hope this helps you to communicate openly with people. And I hope you go forth and do some more research for yourself to further educate yourself about depression and what you could do to help as a non-depressed person. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos, and share with your friends who you think might need to hear this. Thank you.